Talk about what happened over the weekend with Chris Rock, Louis C.K., Jerry Seinfeld, and Ricky Gervais. We're going to talk about when a white person says nigger in your presence. Let me give you a little backstory on the video. It came out in 2011, and I think it's like Let's Talk Straight or some clip, something. But it's Chris Rock, Ricky Gervais, Jerry Seinfeld, and Louis C.K. Louis C.K. is known to use the word nigger in one of his bits. I've only heard one bit where he uses it, but in this situation, they're all sitting around and looks like they're having some drinks, and Chris Rock says something to the effect that Louis C.K. is the whitest nigger he knows, and Jerry Seinfeld looks visibly uncomfortable. Ricky Gervais is kind of laughing it off, but they go on to continue to using the word. And not Ricky Gervais, but Louis C.K. says it a couple of times, maybe 4 or 5 times he says it, and then Ricky Gervais makes a comment like, "Oh, we don't use it," and Jerry Seinfeld is looking like, I don't use it. I don't find the humor in it, nor do I seek to find the humor in it." So naturally, everybody on Twitter is talking about the situation. And it was really weird what I saw online was that Jerry Seinfeld, who did not participate in the conversation, his only participation was saying that he doesn't use a word, he doesn't find humor in it, nor does he seek humor in it. So a lot of people were relieved that their favorite comedian did not participate in this type of conversation. The focus was on Chris Rock for a second, but then I thought it was so many people who were kind of praising or, approving that Jerry Seinfeld did not participate in the conversation. Wale said that he was a legend. Other people were saying, yes, that's my favorite comedian. I'm glad he didn't participate. All of a sudden, the shift of focus went from Chris Rock allowing non-black people to use the word nigger in his presence to Jerry Seinfeld and all the things he has ever done, so that please don't give him props for not using the word. Please don't give him props for not finding humor in the word. And please don't give him props for not seeking to find humor in the word. Let's not give him that much. People are saying, oh, he's invited to the picnic, which I think is a ridiculous thing to do anyway. I feel like if you inviting anybody to the barbecue or whatever the fuck, you gonna give up that, you giving up your seat, okay? But the thing I thought was really, really strange was that how the focus went from Chris Rock allowing white people to use the word nigger in his presence and then also engaging with them and encouraging them to use it, to Jerry Seinfeld, who did not use the word, again, doesn't find humor in the word, nor seeks to find humor in the word. Those are his words. Now everybody is focused on Jerry and how please don't give him that much props for not saying the word nigger. Let's bring up the fact that when he was 30-something years old, he was dating Shoshana Lowenstein, who was 17 years old. Let's bring that up. Let's bring up that he, quote unquote, defended Michael Richards when he went into like what they call on stage rage, when a comedian just goes full throttle on a heckler. And everybody remembers when Michael Richards had that incident. Let's be very clear. Jerry Seinfeld did not defend Michael Richards' use of the word nigger. He was giving him a platform on the Letterman show to apologize for his tirade. So let's not try to rewrite history so that your argument against Jerry Seinfeld can fit, because that's not how it happened. And you can go online and look for everything. He never defended his use of the word nigger. He gave him a platform to apologize for calling somebody nigger, and in the grossest context of the word when it's used. So I really want to talk about not only that, I thought it was weird that the focus went from Chris Rock, the black man, allowing white people to say nigger, to the Jewish man who didn't use the word, spoke against it, said he didn't find humor in it, and says he doesn't seek to find humor in it. I thought it was very, very strange. And then I thought to myself, it seems like it's too many people praising Jerry Seinfeld, that we feel like as a collective, we need to now attack this person. Don't give them too much props for doing what we ask for white people to do in situations like this. Let's figure out a way that we could tear him down and let you remind you why you can't give them too many props in situations where they're doing what we've asked them to do in these situations. I want to talk about how this conversation, because it is a continual conversation about the use of the word nigger by non-black people, and there's so many nuances that come with that. Whether it's using it in rap songs, comedians using it, people who are of African descent or like Afro Latinos using the word. I'm not going to get into all those nuances, but I just want to talk about when white people use it and why they can't use it and why what you should do when you are caught in a situation where you are around non-black people and they are using the word. Collectively, we as a people in our group together, we have an argument for each side. We have black people who don't like to use the word nigger at all, feel like it should be out of rap music, feel like nobody should use it even as a term of endearment. Then you have a group of black people who say, we use the word nigger. I use the word nigger. I don't say N word. That, and then I'll tell you the context of Louis C.K.'s joke as well, who is also a Mexican Jew. So we're thinking about all of these things and why people feel like they want to say it. We always ask white people, why do you want to say it? Knowing that the history of the word is drenched in, it was used derogatory towards us. It was used to weaponize us. And this idea that white people want to use the word so bad, then they're like, oh, it's a double standard. Well, yes, double standards exist. For instance, the word bitch. I am a woman. It is used derogatory against women. But I can use the word and say it to another woman and use it as a term of endearment and she not respond in any way. A man does not have that privilege. So it's the same thing. He does not have the privilege nor the consent to use the word bitch towards another woman at any point. Some men are allowed to, based on the relationship they have with the woman, if she's using it in term of endearment. Within the LGBTQ community, the F word, I'm not allowed to use it. I don't have the privilege to use it, nor do I want to use it, nor do I find humor in it. They are allowed to use it because that's the collective and the group that they belong to. Amongst every single ethnic or racial group, there is a derogatory word for those people. Now, because we are such a vibrant, trendy, fashionable group of people, we've decided to take this word and we use it as a term of endearment. And I think that white people believe, based on historically, they have a privilege to do mostly every single thing in this world. They have a culture of colonization where they love to take things from people and then say that it's theirs or they have the right to do it. I mean, you could look at this country as an example. They've fetishized the word. Well, you guys use it in rap songs. Why can't we use it in rap songs? And I always use this argument. As a child, when songs had curse words in it, I knew that I could not use those curse words around my elders. So guess what I would do when a curse word would come in a song? I'd skip over it. As a white person, you can demonstrate the same thing. You should not use it in a way you shouldn't even want to use it. That's the thing. Knowing the history of the word, you're not using it. And when we talk about language, it's very important to discuss context. Nobody is saying that you can't use the word, but there are consequences for using that word. There are consequences for using the F word. There's consequences for calling a woman a bitch. There's even consequences even in the words that could be considered non-derogatory. Baby. So me and my friends or spouse or partner, if I'm calling him or her baby, my boss can't use that term with me. We be in HR. So there's ideas of words that you can and cannot use and that you have privilege and consent to use. The word nigger is not one of them. You should not use it. Also, believing that because black people use it, this idea that you also have a right to use it. What the problem is with white people is that they have this idea that I have privilege and entitlement to everything in this world, why in the world can't I use the word nigger? Why? Well, because you know the history. There's nobody in this country that does not know the history of the word nigger and how it was used to weaponize it. The problem that I also have is with black people who weaponize the word nigger as well, like Chris Rock's, one of Chris Rock's bits is black people versus niggers. What he decided to do was take the word and weaponize it against us. That's what I don't agree with. I don't agree with that at all. Understanding why people need to understand that it's a privilege, even though you believe that you're privileged and entitled to every single thing in this world where your culture is a culture of colonization. This is not a word that you're able to use. You do not have the privilege to use this word. I know you can't understand it. I know it's way beyond your grasp of intelligence, that you can't understand why there's something in this world that you can't do when you have been given almost every single thing or taken every single thing from people. You believe that it's okay for you to use a word. It's not okay. No one has consented for you guys to use the word. Also, understanding that we do understand context, and we do understand that when you do use the word, there is a consequence. There's no word that is going to ever be banned to where everybody's going to be like, okay, we're no longer saying the word nigger. That's never going to happen. That's unrealistic to believe that you can take a word and then just remove it from the English language. You can't do that. I wanted to also discuss how whites and non-black people understand the derogatory meaning of the word. And then you say, well, I'm just using it in a rap song. Skip over it. Can't use it. I have this idea that everything belongs to them. So when you tell them that they can't do something, again, they just don't understand why you can't do it. For Jews, there is a derogatory word. You know damn well you're not going to be able to use that word at all. With Mexicans, Latinos, and everybody else from different parts of Latin countries, there are derogatory words. Colonizers have created derogatory words for every single ethnic group of people, but yet and still, everybody wants to say nigger, which it doesn't make sense to me. You don't have the privilege, nor do you have the consent. And if you feel like you want to say it, there will be consequences that come with that. And that's just the bottom line. And that is a double standard, and you're just going to have to understand it. Just like men can't go around calling women bitches without consequence, just like people who are not belonging to the LGBT community cannot go around using the F word without consequence. So you have to understand, yes, you can use the word, you could say it because we know you do say it. We know that but if you do say it, there's a consequence that comes with that. I don't understand why everybody decided to focus their attention on Jerry Seinfeld, who didn't participate, instead of focusing on the black man in the room who allowed it. So I want everybody in the comments to discuss if you've ever been in a situation where you've been amongst a group of non-black, or in a group with non-black people who use the word nigger, and what did you do? I also want to talk about if you do have suggestions, because I really thought like the conversation, instead of focusing on Jerry, and then I thought the conversation should have been, what should Chris Rock have done in that situation? You are amongst comedians, and there is I don't want to even say it's an unspoken rule, but there is a rule amongst comedy where everything should be okay to say, because part of comedy is talking about the things that make us uncomfortable and finding humor in those things. So even with Louis C.K.'s joke, his bit is about when white people say the N word, how he in his mind knows, oh, they're saying nigger. So this is when he says it. Oh, they're saying nigger. Oh, now you got me saying it. Now I'm the one that's saying it instead of you saying it. Why don't you say it and get in trouble instead of me realizing what you're trying to say and saying it in my head, and now I feel bad. That is his joke. So we have to understand, like I said, when we are talking about language, it's very important that we understand context, understanding that. Okay, because I know like you're gonna say, oh, it's in rap songs. We're not talking about all the nuances. We're just talking about the basic foundation of the use of the word nigger. When and why you can't use it. Why do you want to use it? This idea that you want to say a word that you know has such an awful history behind it. If we've taken the word, that's us. Now we're taking the word, we're using it as a term of endearment. Like I said, the problem I do have is when other Black people take the word and weaponize it against their own people. I have a problem with that. That comes from Chris Rock's skit. Again, Black people versus niggers. What's the difference? What you're doing is taking the word and using it the same way that they use it. When we have decided as a collective, we're going to take this word and use it amongst each other as a term of endearment. When you start taking the word and using it in the same way that people who exercise racism, people who are prejudiced, bigots, or whoever take the word, now we have a problem. Now we need to discuss the issue. We're not talking about like I said, people who have grown up in communities where they are around a lot of Black people who use the word as a term of endearment. I know growing up in the space where I grew up, people knew not to use the word around me. I've had it said around me before where I just basically corrected it right then. Chill. You can't do that around me. Because I know you use the word. I know you use it when you're rapping. I know you use it in a derogatory word. I know you weaponize it. Don't use that shit around me. You don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to start a fight with somebody. Just ask for that simple respect. Don't use it. I know when I don't even use the F word, but if I don't even want to use it. But for people who feel like, well, I can, why they say it to each other, why can't I say it? Because you don't have that privilege. You don't even belong to that group. So no, you can't use it. You can't say it. And why do you want to use a word that you know to a group of people is a derogatory word and has so much pain in it? Why do you want to? You can't use it in no way. And that is the bottom line. I still don't understand. I think the fact that we took the focus off of Chris Rock and directed it towards the person who did not participate in the conversation and who spoke against it, only to like say, don't congratulate him too much because of blah 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 blah. You got to understand your history. You can't rewrite history. He did not defend Michael Richards. He gave him a platform to apologize because he knew what he said was fucking wrong, because he himself is a person who doesn't use the word, doesn't find humor in the word, nor seeks to find humor in the word. So I think we have to really understand what, as a community, where we need to focus our attention to when it comes to stuff like this. Jerry Seinfeld is not the person that we need to be focused on. It should be Chris Rock and him being okay with other non-Black people using the word nigga around him. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments. Have you ever been in a group of people where the word was used and you had to check that person? Any suggestions for people who don't know what to do? Some people don't feel comfortable to letting another person know, even though we know that they shouldn't be using it. No one feels like that. They don't want to have that confrontation with another person. So if anybody has any tips for anybody to do that, we welcome that as well. That's all I wanted to say about that. I'll give you guys your other reviews later on this afternoon. Take care of each other. Peace.